All right. Can somebody check for me? Let's see.
It says Facebook Live on my end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good.
Perfect. Just want to make sure I'm going to check it out in the group. It's not that I don't believe you guys, but okay, here we go. Perfect.
We have a few people. If they would just mute, that way we can keep going. That'd be great.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, everybody. What's up? I'm Kelly, and welcome to this exclusive webinar with the fabulous Mastermind coaches we have today. Bryce Kimball. Let's give it up for Bryce. What up, Bryce? How are you?
I am fantastic. Besides a impacted tooth and two kids with 102-degree fevers.
Oh, gosh. That's always a great way to start the week, especially right before holiday weekend.
Yep. That being said, I am 100% here, ready to give it my all.
Awesome. Well, we're glad to have you. Bryce, tell us a little bit about what you do for the Mastermind. Tell us what your specialty is. For those of you who don't know, our CEO Mastermind is made up of 7 different coaches, and we all have sort of our own special niche that we specialize in teaching and working with our clients. So Bryce, tell us a little bit about your role and what it is that you specialize in.
So in our CEO group, we have these golden numbers. And just to give you guys an example, attrition should be below 4%. Your MRR should be over 250. Your membership should have a 2 in front of them, not a 1. My specialty is in the sales systems and training. So currently I'm the sales manager for 2 different 7-figure companies, Relentless Media being one of them. So if you're on this call, you probably had a call with me. And what happens on the CEO group is if we're looking at the KPI sheet and somebody drops below 85%, their teams, the CEO, whoever that's involved in the process, they get on a call with me. I diagnose it. Sorry, my tooth is making it hard to talk. But I diagnose it, I help them through the process, and I get them all above 85% closing rate.
So you're the sales guy.
I'm the sales guy.
In a nutshell.
It is.
Thank you so much. All right, Bryce, great to have you. Thanks for joining us. I know you got a toothache today, so I appreciate you being here. And I want to introduce our next coach, Mr. Jonathan Frank. Hey, Jonathan.
How are we doing?
I'm doing good. So happy to see you. I always love seeing Jonathan. Tell us, Jonathan, what is your role in the CEO Mastermind?
Yeah, it's a great question. You know what? I tend to be the coach that maybe is a little bit tougher with higher expectations for guys. But I tend to be the KPI behind the scenes, the guy that's tracking all the KPIs for all of our clients.
Yeah.
And then giving an in-depth report to our other coaches so that they know what's going on all the time with everyone, which helps us point you in the right direction, right? I'm kind of the decipher it, and then everybody else gets you to be successful. So that's typically my role. I'm the guy that's off to the side sometimes, but it's great to be here and see quite a few actual faces. Jonathan, great to see you on this call, man. I just saw you in Arizona a few months ago. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, Jonathan's like the lab. You send your blood work to the lab and you get the report back and it shows you exactly what's going wrong with you. And then all the other coaches can jump in and kind of help save your life. So I'm Kelly. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the COO here at Relentless, and I'm also a management and leadership coach. I run a program specifically for managers, and my specialty within this mastermind is to help you build your teams, become better leaders, become better CEOs for your teams, and really just help with anything revolving around staff. So with that being said, welcome. We are so glad that you guys are here. We want this to be an opportunity for you to ask whatever it is you want. One thing that you should know about us is that we are very transparent. We don't hold anything back, for good or for bad, for better or for worse. You will get the honest truth, at least how we see it. And of course, we're here to help. So please, if you wouldn't mind, start typing in your questions in the chat. Or if you'd rather just raise your hand or ask verbally, that's fine too. But just help get it going by, giving us some questions that are on your mind, maybe some challenges that you're facing right now, maybe some ideas that you'd like feedback on, any of the above works well for a Q&A. Does anybody want to get us started? Does anybody want to jump off the bat and let's see. I'm not seeing any hands raised. You guys do know this is a Q&A, right? Okay, good. Q&A requires questions. Okay. Shelly, hey Shelly, welcome. Shelly wants to know, why have leads dropped off the planet recently? It's an interesting one to start with. All right, coaches, what do we got for Shelly? Any reason why leads have seemed to drop off the planet?
Are we Facebook ads? Are we Google Performance Max? What is the price? Where are we?
Yeah, Shelly, do you have any Facebook, Google? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I want to look at it. I want to look at your website. I'd want to look at your ad buy, your spend.
Yeah.
I know Performance Max right now, I'm getting clicks across multiple locations at 40 cents. So I think it's out there. You know, I have a location that's a waiting list until October and the ads are off. So I think they're there.
Yeah.
But I'd want to dive in a little bit.
Yeah. I think there's probably a couple of things to look at. Obviously marketing is not my specialty, but I think in one way, the fatigue that people experience after seeing the same content is usually a big reason why the ads stop working or they start getting more expensive. So fresh content, this is what I'm hearing from the team almost on a daily basis. When I do one-on-ones with them, one of their biggest challenges is always getting fresh content from you guys. So I know it's time consuming. I know it's tedious, but the audience wants to see something new. They want to see something fresh. They want to see something unique. So really consider how you can help your marketing team by providing that fresh new content, and maybe even just jumping on a call with your ad manager and figuring out what specifically they think they can do to optimize the ad campaigns as well. I don't think, obviously summertime is here, so that could have a little something to do with it. But at the same time, you want to make sure you're supporting the ads with your own Facebook page, making sure that you've got quality content on your page, your business page, making sure that you're posting videos of class, testimonials from parents, that you're posting events, things that are going on in your community. You want to think of your Facebook page almost like a little mini website. Because when someone sees your ads that you're paying for, they're going to go to your Facebook page next. And if what they see is boring, or if it's not enough to compel them to buy, then that can also be an area for improvement for you as well. So hopefully some of those suggestions are helpful. Bryce, anything?
Yes. It's because I work on the agency side. It's usually not that leads drop off. It's that our work ethic on the leads gets relaxed. So what's the follow-up process? Is there a reactivation campaign? Just because new leads aren't coming through right now doesn't mean you don't have 1,000 leads that are in your data bank right now. And you can be doing things to communicate, to tell them what's going on, to constantly drip on them. And so a lot of the times when we talk to academy owners, they're like, we have no leads. We take a deeper look. There's a lot of leads. It's just, what are you doing to continuously date those leads? And the best way I could put it.
Yeah. I think that's a great point. Something that we track is how many people each month are actually saying no versus maybe. I think what you'll find is you've got a lot more maybes than you have no's. And one thing that we're real kind of persistent on is that lead is viable up until the point they say no. So if you're getting anything other than no, stop calling me, I hate you, please lose my phone number, never speak to me, I mean, that's no. If you're getting, I need to talk to my husband, I need to think about it, I need a couple more classes, that's a maybe. And those are still very good leads. They're actually a lot warmer, so to speak, or hotter than someone who's never had any interactions with you before. So if you go back and look, even just in 2023, I'm just going to mute Jack there. If you go back and look through the last couple of months, you'll probably find, let's say you got 30 leads in May, let's say 15 signed up. The other 15, maybe only one actually said no. So you still have 14 leads from the previous month. So I think that's important, especially for anybody who's responsible for the leads. So if it's the studio manager, if it's yourself, if it's an admin, the persistence factor of getting people to come in is going to be highly, anticipated for you as the studio owner, making sure this person is like white on rice when it comes to the pipeline, when it comes to your leads. And I think the next question is sort of similar answer here. Any tips for getting a higher number in the door or appointments booked? And again, this comes down to your persistence, but also your creativity. Think about being the consumer and think about what you're getting in terms of automation. So Relentless is great about setting up automations, emails, texts, etc., for you, but that should not be the be all end all of your approach. That is going to collect maybe 20% of your leads. That other 80% needs to be you or your team, no pun intended here, but relentlessly, right? Being persistent about how you're approaching them, whether it's phone calls, personalized videos, text messages, but it needs to be unique. Because we all know getting a sort of a mass text for a lot of people, it's just ignore. So be unique, be creative. And this is where your team actually can lend a lot of their sort of young, fresh energy to these creative ideas. And it's actually a great way to get them involved is to have them each week think of a new idea on how we can stand out and capture those leads. Anybody else?
Just to piggyback on what you said, you got to hit your leads on every single sense, meaning you got to call them, you got to send them a voice note, you got to send them a picture. So we're talking about, touch, sight, hearing. People don't communicate the same way, even though they're opting in to the website. That might not be their preferred method of communication. So if you can take what Kelly's saying about the creativity and hit people on all their senses. I mean, there's simple apps like Loom. You can send a video. It gives them a link. The open rate to those links is really, really high. Or you can send them an audio message. I can tell you right now, if you call my phone, I'm not answering. Ever. It's just not going to happen. But if I open up my phone and I see there's a voice note or a link or something like that, I'm going to hit that because that's how I like to be. Just get to the point. That's how I like to be communicated with. And so your follow-up process should include all of that stuff in there.
And everybody's different, right? Like every client is going to respond to something different. That's why you can't just rely on the automations. And I think that's where we tend to miss the boat is we just put all our eggs in that basket. Every week, think of one or two creative ways to catch their attention. I think speaking directly to the child is a great way. Hey, this is a video for Little Ryder. This is Coach Kelly down at MX. I noticed that you were interested in taking some ninja lessons and I can't wait to meet you. Maybe flying sidekick, break the board. And then as a parent, I
sent it to you via text.
As a parent, I get that video and it's like, I can't wait to show my son, hey, look at Coach Kelly. She's doing this awesome ninja sidekick and she can't wait to meet you. So I think that is sort of what we mean by being creative and working on some ideas that are outside the box, that feel personal, that feel special, that don't feel like what you're sending to every single person who opts in. Okay. Looking for best practices to handle incoming leads with 2 part-time employees working on different days and juggling 3 phone numbers, Relentless, Spark, and a landline. And then Brandon wants to piggyback and says, to this point, how is everyone doing their phone line? What hours do you answer? Who answers? I can't read the next part, landline, Morse code, etc. Jonathan, you want to take this one?
Yeah, so we use Relentless until they're a client, right? And then we transition to a Google Voice. So actually across our company, we use Google Voice for all of it. And we have one point of contact. We have an enrollment director, press 1. And so all of our clients, all of our locations are funneled to one person. That way the message and branding is consistent. We know exactly what's going on all the time. She is a salaried employee that answers the phone call up to 10:30 at night, except on Sundays. She's off. And then she'll answer as early as 8 a.m. So when we talk about timing, that person is dedicated. When we have a part-time, I would consider doing some part-time hours, work from home, but those messages should be answered within 5 minutes all the time. Which Rand, it sounds like it's going to be a little bit difficult, right? If you have two, but freeing up some hours where they can clock in working from home, answering something at 8:30 at night is still okay.
Yeah, to me, this is like the most important investment. I mean, you have to stay on top of your leads and your pipeline. So do whatever it takes to get that covered. And unfortunately, it is sort of like hard to just do that in a certain window, because you really just need to be available when people are ready to chat with you. And in this sort of economy, climate, everybody is just waiting for instant gratification. They're not waiting. I shouldn't say waiting. They want to know what they want to know, like, immediately. So unfortunately, waiting even an hour in this day and age is like a long time. So this becomes very urgent. It's what sets you apart from your competition, is having someone able to pick up the phone, answer questions, be available when someone is actually interested and ready. As you guys know, many of you are parents, you're busy. When you have a moment to do something, you want to get it done, right? You don't want to have to leave a message and get called back 5 days later, play this back and forth game. So they're just going to pick up the phone and call the next place, and whoever picks up the phone first is going to win. So I think it's a really good investment. For me, in my model, what I teach is the studio manager should be available to answer the phone at any point when they're there. And then if you notice that you're having a lot of calls before or after that time, then you would hire someone specifically for that role.
So
Rand, yeah.
I do have one of the part-timers has a dedicated iPhone that, the calls go to her, and she's also the face on the videos and everything.
Yeah.
But the days that she's not there, well, she still answers the phones as far as incoming leads and just following up on all leads. It's a different person. So between them two, and also another question, which I think was the piggyback one, when the calls, or the leads rather, not the calls, but when the leads come in at 3 a.m. or 10 p.m., I mean, is it appropriate to call them back? And obviously,
Jonathan, you want to take this one, or Bryce?
Yeah, I stop at 10. We stop at 10. We won't, and then we start at 8 a.m.
so 8 to 10.
Yeah, but that person they'll pick up on those 3 a.m. Hey, notice you texted at 3 a.m. I'm available now. Love to chat. Right. So we can do some stuff like that. But I would definitely consider freeing up a few hours, some part-time hours, where if they have to pull their phone out at 9 o'clock, right, they're able to clock in, and you're able to free those hours up, so that way they can respond accordingly.
Yeah, I've been to multiple academies across the US, and I've done assessments with the managers, the business, just everything from top to bottom. And one of the things I hear from managers a lot is there's no boundaries. They usually say those exact words. There's no boundaries. My boss expects me to work 24 hours a day, do these phone calls, so on and so forth. And every time I hear that from a manager, when I'm looking at them, they look like they're in pain. They're like, hey, I'm supposed to be clocked in from this time to this time, but I'm supposed to be working 24 hours a day. So my question to you would be, do you actually have a written out description and checklist of what they should be doing, when and how? Like, if I walked into your business tomorrow and I was going to take up the admin lead, would I know exactly when to start, when to stop, how to do it, what to do? Do you have that?
Yes, the problem is a little more like the person who the calls go to, she's basically in charge of the phone even when she's not there. I pay her like a separate fee. It's not based on hours, it's based on, she gets 100 a couple of $100 a month, understanding that, and she chose that, I kind of worked with her. Would that work for you? But so the days the other person in when they make follow-up calls, one, it comes from a different number. Two, when they set an appointment, it may not be the day that the person comes in, might be the other one. So kind of having them track. I know generally in sales organizations, a lead is assigned to one person and that's, who takes them all the way. But in this case, they may come at a day where the other person is working. So just, it's all kind of a mess in my head.
It sounds to me more like a systems and a training issue versus a people issue. If you have replicable systems that any good salesperson can follow and do, then it shouldn't matter who's taking the lead at what point in the process.
So,
it's obviously, yeah.
As far as getting that organized, so from the client's point of view, also, I'm just having a hard time.
One person.
Yeah. So
Think of it this way: if each employee is really great at the job, then it shouldn't matter to the client who they're working with. If you have a great experience with Bryce and a great experience with me and a great experience with Jonathan, it will all be somewhat different based on our personalities, but we're going to give you the same information, the same experience. You should expect the same replicable steps. So I think it's actually more powerful if you have really well-trained employees that all can do the job well, because then it's like, it's not just Kelly that's good here. It's Bryce, it's Jonathan, it's Kelly. It doesn't matter who I talk to. They're all on point. That's what we want. That's how we create brands versus we are run by one particular person who's a rock star in our business, which is what we don't want. We want everybody on the team to be rock stars. So we could probably dissect this more, Rand, if you want to jump on a call one-on-one and maybe talk through it a little bit more. We're happy to do that with you. Let's figure out, let's see, we've got one from Richard who lost a key assistant and is essentially a one-man show. He's a white belt in social media, but needs to do much better at communicating, inspiring. I have an idea for you, Richard, and this is something that maybe all of you can implement pretty quickly. It's called a brand ambassador. And a brand ambassador is someone in your studio that is already a raving fan. So think of the parents, the moms in particular, that just love you already, that have seen great success with their children, that have maybe known you for a while. These parents make excellent brand ambassadors. And what you would do is you would set up a special program for them where on one side of the list, you have perks that they receive for being a brand ambassador for you. So potentially maybe a discount on pro shop items. Maybe it's discounted tournament tickets. Maybe it's a private lesson every quarter. Some sort of perk list, a special brand ambassador, exclusive t-shirts, exclusive swag. So you want to come up with a whole list of perks that you're going to give them for doing this. And then on the other side, you're going to create a list of tasks that they're going to help you with each month. One of those is primarily social media. So it could be posting on their own personal page. It could be posting on your fan page. It could be in moms groups, which are very, very powerful in your community. As a mom myself, most of the information I'm getting in regards to my children is from moms groups on Facebook. So I can't recommend them enough. Maybe some of you are not moms, so you can't be in those groups, but your brand ambassadors can be. They can be posting about your events. There's actually typically a rule that you cannot post about your own business in those types of groups. But if you have moms who are not necessarily employees, there's no rule against that. So they can be posting, they can be commenting on posts for you. They can be creating social media. So this is a really great way to utilize them. And then the other thing is that your teenage demographic is another really great resource. So your leadership team, if you have one, or anybody who's in training, even if they're not yet paid employees, ask them to help create content for you because this is what they do. It's what they love. It's what they're doing anyways, right? They're all on their phones anyway. So utilize the people around you that have that skill set and take it off your plate.
That was a perfect answer, Kelly. That's great. Have a team of moms. That's awesome.
Richard also wants to know, what do you consider key KPI numbers and why are they important? And Jonathan, we will turn that over to you.
The top five, right, all the time is gross MRR, attrition, conversions, and then ARM. Those are 5. I'll put it in the chat so you see them. Those will be on the positive side of your balance sheet. But I'll write them in the chat. Those are the big 5. I know that's kind of a quick answer, but
You want to go through each one of those? Just give us a quick sentence for each one.
yeah, sure. I mean, gross obviously is the overall what you take in every month. It's a decent indicator. It's not always your profitability, right? That's not in there, but it's a decent indicator of either growth or lack thereof. MRR would be your monthly recurring revenue. That's your billing, tuition, what have you. That's a really good indicator because it usually shows a growth curve. And if it's wonky like this, there's usually other things going on as far as not providing a good customer experience as we take responsibility for losing students. And then attrition directly, it's kind of a more specific number in relation to MRR, right? Bryce talked about that number, 4%. We're seeing about 4.5% as the economy gets, as the perception of the economy gets wonky. We're seeing about a 4.5%. Really, focus schools are below 4.5% when they provide those extras. Conversions is right up Bryce's alley. So that's your sales conversions. You need to be at 85%, and it's doable. Everybody, you have to have the conviction. I'll steal Bryce's word. You have to have the conviction to understand that you can be over 85% on paid trials that come in and convert. That's it. And we're seeing it not just in 1 or 2 locations. We're seeing it all across the United States with the ones that have conviction. And then ARM. ARM is average revenue a member. I truly believe that ARM is the most important number for dissecting the health of a martial arts school or a service-based business. Right now, if your ARM is below 250, with the current way that the economy is going and the increased prices, the cash flow is becoming more challenging. It doesn't mean the profitability is not there. We're not looking at expenses. We're not looking at rent and all those things, other ways that you can increase your net. But if your ARM is over 250, it tends to make things easy, right? We'd rather have 100 students making 30 grand or 200 students making 30 grand. So if you can get that ARM up, and Bryce mentioned right in the beginning in his intro, over 200, we're telling you across the industry right now, your initial price 2 days a week should start with 205, 215, 225, 2 days a week. Starts with a 2. That's where we're at. And if you have the conviction, we are not seeing any pushback on multiple demographics. I mean, like I said, all across the US, our clients are all across the US. And I think that's an initial 200. And then we get there, they get there, and it's easy. So those are the 5.
Your team depends on that as well, right? So I'm always looking at it from like the point of view of building a team, which is necessary to scale and replicate and grow and potentially reach all of your goals. You have to have a strong team, a team that's proud to work for you. A team that's valuable is going to cost money. So if you're not charging what you're worth, if you're not looking to increase your ARM, you're not going to be able to support a team, a good quality team. They're not going to stay with you. They're not going to be loyal. They're not going to want to continue their career with you. So you have to do it for them, if not for yourself. If you're having trouble thinking about it for yourself, because maybe you have some money stuff, that has conditioned you to feel a certain way about raising your prices, but you got to do it for them. The cost of living is higher. Everything's getting more expensive. It takes $80 to fill your gas tank. So you have to keep up and you have to be able to support your team. That's my little rant for that.
Yeah, that's it. The more you make, the more you can pay your team, and just pay them really well.
Yeah. So Andrew says we are moving to 2 training areas with different classes at each time. And he wants to know best practices or any maybe things he should be paying attention to when it comes to scheduling and staffing. So I guess the question has got 2 floors now. Any things that he should be kind of paying attention to? Do either of you have 2 floors running simultaneously?
Is the first floor packed? Is there a reason to split it? Is the profit margin over 26%? before you split that floor.
And Andrew, feel free to just unmute and dialogue with Bryce.
Yeah, our first floor has been completely packed. So
Okay, if you don't mind me asking on the call, and you can send this to me on a message if you want, but what's your current MRR and how many students do you have? I see nodding his head over there because he knows where I'm going with this.
we are at about 200 students. We're down a little bit over the summer because of a lot of freezes in our demographic. But we're expecting to kick into September over 200. And our MRR right now is lower than it should be. And it's about 30 to 35,000.
Okay, we got 35,000. You said 200 students?
Thanks for the honesty.
I appreciate that. That actually takes a lot of courage. So right now, your current student average is 175. So my heart says you should probably increase the MRR, or sorry, the ARM of those students and fill that floor to maximum profitability, not capacity, profitability before you start splitting it apart. I think a lot of times as academy owners, we look at our floor and we go, it's packed. Yeah, it may be packed, but these people aren't actually paying what we're worth yet. And so if we just focus on that one factor, that would be the biggest bang for your buck. Jonathan, I'm going to throw that over to you because I see you.
No, Bryce, your number is perfect with numbers. To specifically ask to answer his question. I mean, I would start with Bryce's approach first. I always would. I like an X schedule. So you asked about scheduling and things. I like an X schedule. Making more options for parents inside of that profitability matrix is important, right? So, which will allow you to be more flexible, right? If you have a flexible schedule, your conversion the signups go up. I like that idea of scheduling and things. The profitability has to be there, running numbers, running the class size.
Yeah.
And should be, but
you want to make sure you can service both sides, right? Like obviously having 2 floors means 2 teams, right? It means two areas of customer service. Attention is divided. So just
Very
really think about that as well. And I would think about that, setting up the schedule as well as think of the flow, the traffic, people coming in and out, making sure there's not going to be congestion, making sure there's enough time to meet and greet people and really spend time with people. So just maybe like walk through it mentally to make sure that it's making sense. And as far as scheduling kids and adults together, I mean, I always think kids need to be home and in bed. So trying to get them like out of the way to me makes sense. Having the adults or the older teens staying later, just logistics feels like the right thing for me, but I don't know, that could just be my own personal preference.
Bryce, Jonathan has a question there. I think that's a good one for you.
I've been
That's Eileen, I believe.
I've been looking at that question for about 3 minutes. Jonathan, are you still on the call?
Jonathan Franco, are you here?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. Perfect.
Can you please pitch me?
Good courage, man.
Yes, sir. So now that we finished our first lesson, here are our prices for our membership. Our program is for 12 months long, and our beginning program, which we recommend for students to train, is our core membership. It's $195 a month and $199 registration. However, if you sign up today, we do have a first day signing bonus for you. You'd be able to save $20 less on your tuition. So and also your registration will be waived of the $199. You'll be able to get our backpack water bottle and the weapon of the season. So today, all you would have to do is pay $175. If you were to start tomorrow or at the end of your trial, it'll be the registration plus the $195. So basically $400 to start later down the road.
Are you the one who's solely in charge of sales in the academy?
No, sir. Coach Sharon and I both do it.
Okay. How often are you role playing and training these pitches?
So far, only once a week.
Okay. So to kind of sum it in for you, first thing, you gave me way too many options of backing out where I could say. There was a lot of places where I could have been like, not really into the deal. But most importantly for you, you need to role play this pitch and simplify it. It's a little too complicated. There's too many numbers. You just need to boil it down and make it feel really good. So for example, we're going to talk about our memberships. See, there's no if there. We're going to talk, I'm assuming the close. We have 1 day, 2 day, 3 days a week. Nobody ever chooses 1 day. We just have this on here to let you know that if life gets crazy, you have the option to bump down rather than quit. So I'm implying that they are not going to quit. They can go down. Then I say 2 days a week is our most popular. 3 days is our best value. These are our regular prices. And what I'm pointing at when I say that, I'm just kind of using my hand, is I'm pointing at the expensive prices, but I'm not actually saying any numbers. The reason why I don't say any like real numbers on the membership pricing during the pitch is because I don't want them to start going into math in their head as we're talking about value, because they're automatically going to start trying to, this is just a human thing, they're going to start trying to make this more expensive than it is. And so I point at the top, these are our regular prices. By getting started today, you receive a permanent discount on our memberships. We'll also waive our registration fee. Everything is super easy. We take a card, we put it on file, comes out every single month. Which membership works best? So do you feel how simple that process is?
Yes. Yes, I do. I was also reciting what we have because we have the laminated sheets like you were showing with your hand. We also have that for the first day sign up, but I guess I should talk less and let them look more.
So you have to understand that when it comes to the sales interaction, that the national understanding and comprehension level is at about 5th grade.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's crazy. But if you understand that, and then you start to reel back your sales process and simplify it to that 5th grade level, one, people aren't going to feel like you're talking over them. People aren't going to feel like you're talking at them. People are going to feel like you understand them, which is the most important piece, right? If I come at you and I start going at the sales process with all these numbers, these things, and this is what we, no. The average dad that's coming in has a 5th grade comprehension level, and we need to back it down. And when you do that, the option's really simple. They look at the 3, 1 day, 2 day, 3 day a week. We already said no to 1 day, so it's not an option. They're gonna you're gonna have about 70% choose the 2 day a week option just because they don't want to be cheap. And I also use the verbiage, this is the most popular. So people want to do what other people are doing, but you're going to have this small percentage of people that are what you consider bargain shoppers. So they might go for this higher option. But I guarantee you, by making the middle one your highest margin and just your most popular, and having it super simplified like that, you're going to close over 85% easy. I know I
Okay,
kind of
thank
went
you.
rabbit hole with that, but this was like in my zone, and I couldn't
Right.
wait to get to the question.
It's
Yeah,
great
I mean-
coach, man. You did it.
Yeah, any kind of confusion is an automatic no. If there's any confusion from start to finish, it's a no. So just make sure you're super clear. I don't know if you noticed when Bryce was speaking, he was speaking very slowly, pausing, allowing you to really hear the information. So that's really important so that people don't start making up stories in their head while you're talking. And then just keeping it super simple for them so that it's an easy choice. But, you know, there's other things that go into their decision. So making sure your mat is on point, making sure the first day experience is on point, making sure it's worth whatever it is that you're asking them to pay. So I know, Jonathan, that's not just specific for you, but for everybody, really auditing what's happening on day one. Is it worth what we're asking people to pay? Is it something that is so compelling? Is the experience so great that at the end of that pricing presentation, I've already made up my mind, because the choice is happening far before you ask me which one I want to sign up for.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay,
I
great
see a lot
question.
of people nodding heads right now. They're like,
Yeah, Jonathan, that was great, man.
Great question. Yeah.
Thank
I
you
know
for the
there's a
tips.
question
I appreciate that.
about Relentless being able to do voice
Yes.
note option. I think what they're asking, I'm not sure, is like an audio message. Is that what you're asking?
We do voice drops, voicemail drops. They're pre-recorded drops.
Okay. I wasn't sure. I did message you and ask specifically if you could help elaborate on your question so I could understand it. So feel free to ask another specific question. Rand wants to know best response when prospects insist on getting specific pricing details as a deciding factor whether to even set a trial appointment. We all want to answer. Go ahead, Bryce.
You guys go ahead. Lead
No,
the way.
Bryce, you got, yeah, yeah.
Where's Rand's question? Sorry if I pronounced that.
Right
In
at
the
the
chat.
bottom of the chat.
Oh, best response. Okay, so when it comes to pricing, first we want to redirect the question, because most people are going to ask about price because that's just the only question that they know how to ask. They don't know what's happening. They have no conception of the value, anything. So, you know, like when you go into a store, the first thing you're going to do is going to grab the bag of potato chips and go, how much is this? But you're not reading the ingredient list, right? So what we do is we just redirect on the very first one. And the purpose of that redirection is to recreate the conversation, to understand why they have come into our facility and what pain caused them enough pain for us to be able to solve. Now, if you do a good job at that first step where you're able to redirect, take the conversation back down the straight line to the close, you're good to go. If they ask a second time, this is an indication that price may be a very serious consideration for this family. So what we do, I'm assuming that you guys use a price drop. I hope you do. That can be a different conversation, but we use a range of the price on the high end. So our memberships can be anywhere from $227 to $257. Most parents on day one completely understand that this is something their child is going to love, appreciate, and want to commit to. And what we're doing with that statement is we're pre-framing to the parent. And keep in mind, I'm using a high price point on purpose, because the parent's going to sit down and they're going to go through their emotional process, watching what's going on, watching the kid. We're going to have a manager walk over and be like, hey, did you just see that? And that was the why of why they were there. You know, let's say Johnny can't look up off the floor, has zero confidence, all that stuff. And Johnny looks up at the instructor and he goes, yes, sir. We have our manager walk over and go, did you see that? Did you feel what just happened? And that
Did
parent goes,
light bulb go off of that,
and
you know,
to take
having someone point out, hey, did you see that? And
Oh,
this
yeah.
is-
got to have that. But to take a note from Jonathan's book, people have two categories of expenses: expendable, fixed. Fixed is house, insurance, car, so on and so forth. And what we're doing during that time is we're trying to make sure that when that parent sits down and they feel the emotional experience, they take that budget and put it into the fixed side of their head. And then when we bring them back for the close, we say, hey, by the way, our first day incentive, by foregoing your trial or by exchanging your trial, you're going to receive a permanent discount on our membership. And you're going to have that price drop. And now guess what? Psychologically, they go, oh God, I put it in there at $260, but it's actually only $227. Oh, I'm so happy to pay this.
So following the logic, do you recommend if they never bring up price to kind of give them that range anyway, so they're pre-framed? So in other words, if they just, you know, to kind of pre-qualify them, hey, you know, the range is such and such, even if they don't ask.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I think we make such a big deal out of the price in our own minds that the confidence is not there when we're talking to our clients. Price is a normal, everyday, it's going to be a question. It shouldn't be something we shy away from. There's no other industry really that is like this tiptoe around what this costs. If you go into a car dealership, this is what the car costs, whether it's a BMW or a Dodge, it doesn't matter. Price is just a fact of life. And I think if we mentally focus on it, it becomes more of an issue. So have a script on your phone calls, right? Whatever it is. The most important thing about the initial phone call is that that person feels connected to, listened to, and valued, right? And then we're able to say, hey, this is what our program costs. So what I would focus on as a response is, hey, Bryce, do you mind if I ask you a few questions? And then I'd be happy to answer yours, no problem. Or that's a great question, Bryce, and I'm going to tell you exactly how much this costs. I just have a couple of questions for you so I can help get to know you a little bit better and understand what it is that we can do to help, you know, your child. And then it's about benefit matching. So benefit matching is being able to educate in an educated way, give the information that the client is looking for in relation to their own needs or their own wants. So if Bryce says, I'm looking for discipline, or I'm looking for focus, or I'm looking for confidence, I have to be able to explain in detail how I'm going to help your child achieve that. Then I can drop price. And now it's like, well, that makes sense. It's $250, but I just explained to you the value of that money. So start there. The response should always be about catering to that person's need and figuring out in a very educated way how we can match the benefits that we provide to the benefits you're looking for as the parent. And always price drop, because again, it's something that they need that information in order to make a decision. So we don't want to withhold that from them. That just makes it weird. I would always give the price. It's like the confidence of that alone. Yep. Our programs range between $229 and $257. And, you know, we'll go through that with you when you come in on day one and explain the different ways that you can pay.
And those three things you said, you want to make them feel
Connected to, right? Like there's a connection between us, valued, and listened to. I think I said it in the opposite order, but yeah, those were the three, right? Like connection. How do I feel connected to you, Rand? It's by getting to know you. So when you go out on a date, how do you feel? How do you find connection? You ask questions, you get to know one another. You're actively listening. You're not just talking at them. You're finding out what they need, what they want, what their struggles are, what their challenges have been. That's the connection piece. Valued is about creating validation for them. That makes sense. A lot of parents in our studio feel that way. A lot of parents come in feeling, you know, that challenge, or a lot of kids struggle with this. What you're feeling is validated. That's not the word I'm looking for. What you're feeling is valid. right? And then it's about education. Here's what we do, and here's why we're worth it.
To piggyback on Kelly's point, if somebody asks you for price a third time, money is a real issue. And if you avoid the point, they will walk so far away from the sale. They will feel so offended. So you just kind of have to take it with a little bit of grace. Understand the two skill points that happened prior. But if they go a third time and they're like, hey, I just need to know what price this is.
I would be
You can
so
tell them.
annoyed. I would be so annoyed as a mom. I'm sorry, but I'd be like, why will you not just let me know how much this freaking costs? What are
That's
you know,
what I'm
like,
talking about.
yeah, what are you hiding? So I think just answer the question. You go to Walmart, you want to buy a pair of socks and you can't find the price tag. They're not gonna be like, well, maybe you should try these on and walk around the store and see how comfortable they are. And if you really like them at the end, then we'll tell you how much they cost. Like, it's just stupid. Jonathan, I know you wanted to jump in. Let's move on. Any more questions? Let's
No,
get-
I'm good. You guys beat that one. I love it.
Oh, we had fun. It was a lot of fun.
All right, everybody else that's on this call, you have any other questions? I don't see any other questions in the chat, so please. Oh, Nick, thank you. When it comes to onboarding when it comes to an onboarding call with a lead and developing that connection, is it better to try and get micro yeses or to tell them what they want?
Ooh,
You need me to clarify that, or is the
Yes,
question
I do.
clear?
it's a
Please.
great
Okay,
sale,
so
man.
when you get when you have a lead that comes in and you get on the phone with them, obviously you want to build a connection. Is it a better practice to try and ask them questions so that they're saying yes to you in developing rapport? Or is it better for you to just kind of tell them, hey, based on what you're saying, this is what you're looking for, and let me give that to you?
Gosh, I just feel like the yeses, it's like such a salesy approach. Like I'm trying to con you into saying yes 10 times so that you'll say yes 11 times when you walk. You know what I mean? Like, just listen. Just actively listen to what the person is saying and ask thoughtful questions, and don't be afraid to communicate your authority and your expertise. Have you guys ever heard of the 6 laws of influence, the 6 principles of influence by Robert Cialdini? Those are great for sales, because what we tend to forget is that people are coming to you because you are an expert. So when you are on the phone only collecting information, right? What do you need? What do you want? Obviously, that's part of it. But what we fail to realize is they're coming to you because they need help, and you are the expert. So demonstrate your expertise in these moments. Impress them with what you know and how you can help. That's what's going to create that belief or that trust. And I think that's the most important thing. I don't think there is a trick or a, I'm not a big fan of those types of mentalities in sales, because I think it takes away from the authenticity of what we're doing. So just ask thoughtful questions, listen to what the person is saying, and respond appropriately, and use your expertise. You have many, many years of experience doing this. Call on that and practice communicating it in a way that is influential.
Thank you, Kelly.
I'm going to agree with Kelly on this one.
Thanks, Bryce.
Yeah.
As much of a sales guy as I am, if you're just trying to get yeses for the reason of getting yeses, it won't work. People like to feel understood. So when you hear about me talking about micro yeses on trainings or whatnot, I'm not saying get micro yeses for the reason of having yeses. I'm saying understand their concerns, address their concerns, show them why you're the solution.
Yeah.
Be the expert. Like Kelly killed it with that answer. So I just had to like jump in and say, I actually agree with her on this. She knows more about sales than she thinks she does. That was good. Very good.
Jonathan, anything to add?
No, I mean, you guys hit it. I when we meet martial arts schools, they're so passionate, right? And they know they can make a difference. They know they can make a difference, and they love it. And then we start talking about price, and they get verklempt. I'm like, just show them your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Show them why you started, and then charge what you need to do to pay your people and pay your mortgage. And lead from here, you're rolling.
Yeah.
To the last piece of that, tell them what they want. So the only people you should tell what they want is the super indecisive person that comes into your academy that has no idea what the hell is going on. They walked into this facility, they see the people in pajamas, they see the belts, they don't know. And they come up to you and you notice through communication that they are just like, I have no idea what the hell is going on. That's the only time when you should assert benefits of your program to this person. Hey, by the way, did you know that our service does this, 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 and this? Does any of that resonate with you? Very important. Does any of that resonate with you? Because every once in a while, you're going to have like 1 out of 10 people that just have no idea what it is that we do. And then you go in and you recirculate that conversation.
Look, parents don't know what the heck they're doing. We don't really know. We're lost. We're confused. There's no manual.
Yes.
So don't be afraid to guide us, and let us know what is best for us. We had a great session last Mastermind in Las Vegas with who was it? Aaron Hensley, I think, was the one speaking on just the conviction of being able to say, this is what's going to be best for you based on my experience, right? This is what's best for your child. And that, I think, is very powerful, because I sometimes don't know what to do as a parent. So just because I am his mom doesn't mean I am the, be all end all of knowledge. So help me understand what it is I don't understand in those moments as a parent.
Can I answer Richard's deal before I have to jump off to an agency?
Yeah, please do, because we all have to jump off in 2 minutes.
Richard, let me ask you this. Which age group causes you the most stress? Why would you charge less for a 4 to 5 to a 6 to 9 for a 30-minute class? In my opinion, your 4 to 5, your 6 to 9, your 30-minute classes should cover all of your expenses. They should be the same rate, if not a little more.
Simple answer is yes. Everything should be valued the same. I mean, you're doing the same work. You're doing the same thing. So short answer is yes. And does anybody else have any last questions before we jump off? Thank you guys for being here. Really appreciate you. If you have other questions, feel free to send them in on the comments and the replay. It's in the group. If you guys have any questions about our mastermind or you want more information, we can hook you up with a call with Bryce, and he can tell you a little bit more about how it works. You guys are awesome. Thanks for being here. Have a great week. Go crush it. Yay, Wednesday. Bye-bye. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Jonathan. Thanks, Bryce.